This is the Human Design System, and you see my information for this system on the screen. I'm using myself just as an example to kind of go over the basic mechanics of where the data comes from and how it's plugged in and how it relates to astrology. I've been studying this for about a year now. Not nearly as much as I study astrology, but I do use it from time to time to just get more depth and more insight on the interpretations that I'm making in astrology, mainly just in natal charts, not really so much in transit. So what you see here is all four of the disciplines that the Human Design System is based off of, all stacked on top of each other. The first of which is, of course, astrology. This is a 360-degree chart, just like astrology. And then, of course, here you can see the zodiac symbols. The next system that we have included here is the Kabbalah Tree of Life, and that is here in the middle. The body graph itself is based off of the layout of the Tree of Life in the Kabbalah. The chakra system is the third discipline included, and each of these shapes corresponds with one of those chakras or energy centers within our own body. Last but not least, we have the Chinese I Ching, and that is what is found around the outside of this illustration. Each of these symbols is called a hexagram, and each hexagram has 6 lines in it. This is related into the Human Design System with these numbers on this part of the wheel. These are the numbers of the gates within the Human Design System. There are 64 hexagrams in the Chinese I Ching, and there are also 64 gates within the Human Design System. And based on where a planet falls within this 360-degree wheel, astrologically, it will fall within one of these gates and correspond with one of these hexagrams. So back over here, these numbers here are the numbers of the gates that the planets fall within on that 360-degree wheel. So there are 360 degrees on the wheel that these planets can be placed upon. There are only 64 gates within the Human Design System, so obviously each gate covers multiple degrees on the chart. These numbers here correspond with the numbers that are within each of these shapes or centers. So within each center, there are gates numbered, and when one of these numbers comes up in either of these sets of data, then it activates that gate within the Human Design body graph. You can see these lines running from center to center, connecting the numbers. So for example, here I have gate 1 active because of my Pluto on both sides. And also I have gate 8 active because of my Jupiter here on the design side. When you have both sides of one of these lines activated within your data, then it activates the center on each end of this channel. These lines are called channels. And so when the gate on both sides of a channel are found within these two sets of data for an individual, then those centers are considered defined within that individual's chart. So that's the basic mechanics of how we set up and interpret a body graph in Human Design. Other basic information that is important to know here, based on which of these centers is defined or undefined within your chart, you will be in one of 4 categories of personality type or aura energy type. Each of these types has a different way of showing up in the world, a different strategy for making decisions, a different authority for determining who they are. it goes very, very deep into each of these personality types. I am a projector, and so we find that here. Then, based on the numbers of the line with your personality sun and earth and your design sun and earth, you will get your profile. So here I have line 3 on my personality side and line 5 on my design side, so that makes my profile a 3-5. That indicates the way that I live my life, the way that my life is going to go, the themes that will follow me throughout my lifetime. Again, this goes very, very deep, and I'm just trying to give a basic overview. But that is where this information comes from. So then, probably the most basic form of information that you could get from this chart without studying a whole lot, in order to get a basic overview of what you're here for, according to human design, would be the incarnation cross. And this, as opposed to being based on the lines up here for the profile, the incarnation cross is based on the gates that you find with your personality sun and earth and your design sun and earth. So you can see here I have got 4232, and that is found here, and 6162, that is found here. The incarnation crosses come in 3 different types: right angle, left angle, and juxtaposed. And each of these crosses has a unique theme that combines the energy of each of these 4 gates to show just an overall view or explanation, description of what you're here for and how it's going to present itself or manifest within your lifetime. And that is the basics. Actually, I think I forgot to explain the where we get. So one more thing before I'm moving on. So one last thing, I believe that I forgot earlier to explain why there are 2 sets of data for the astrological component here. This personality side is the conscious side of our design. It's what we're aware of. It corresponds directly to the astrological natal chart as you would pull it with your date of birth and time and location. And then this red set of data over here is the exact same planetary points. It is called the design part or the unconscious part of our design. And it corresponds with the planets where they were on the astrological chart. Then this set of data over here in red is called the design or the unconscious design. And these numbers indicate where the planets were located when the sun was 88 degrees earlier in the wheel than it was at the time of your birth. The sun moves about 1 degree per day, give or take a little bit. So this is about 88 days before your birth. And this is said to be when the soul enters the body. So then, of course, the other set of data that corresponds with the moment of your birth would be when the soul and the body enter into the physical realm, or you are born into the world. So that is just a basic overview of the human design system. There are so many other things that could be said about it. I have been studying it for a year and have not reached the bottom or the end of the knowledge. I still consider myself a novice. So I'm not going to try to get into too much more lest I lead you astray. But if this interests you at all, I highly encourage you to dig a little bit deeper into it. You can find lots of resources online and on YouTube. So yeah, that's all I've got for this brief introduction to human design. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. And if you'd like to see more of this kind of information on this channel, please let me know. Thanks for listening.